Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Max with Strength Maniac, and today I have a video for you regarding the number one biggest training mistake I see my bros making in the gym on a daily basis if the goal is to get as big and strong as possible in the shortest amount of time. If you are new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe and like this video if you find this information useful. Stay tuned until the end of the video where I will give you the plan to fix this mistake, because it's honestly very simple and it really just comes down to programming your workouts correctly. So here we go, let's get into it. The number one biggest mistake I see people making in the gym is simply too much isolation work. So isolation work, what specifically is that? We're talking about bicep curls, front delt raises, pec flies, leg curls, leg extensions. Exercises like that, exercises that are single joint movements that do not use a very large amount of musculature to move that weight. So what is the problem with primarily using isolation movements or single joint movements? Well, the problem with this is you typically do not stimulate a large amount of musculature, and you typically only use 1 to 2, maybe 3 different muscle groups as primary movers in that movement, as opposed to something like a multi-joint or compound movement where you're using multiple muscle groups to move the weight, and the mechanical load can be much greater because you have all these muscle groups working together. So let's define first, like a compound movement would be some sort of bench press variation, a squat variation, a deadlift variation, bench over row variation, pull-up. You kind of get the idea. Or an isolation work, as I stated, would be a bicep curl, a front delt raise, a tricep push down, leg curl. So does this mean you should never use isolation work? Of course it doesn't mean you should never use isolation work. Bicep curls are great for building your biceps. Leg curls are great for stimulating specifically your quads if you want to take everything else out of the movement, all these other muscle groups. So basically you just have to create a plan where the isolation work fits into an appropriate spot, and this should be somewhat of like a hierarchy. Think of this as the hierarchy of your daily workouts. So I will give you a general plan for a typical workout day. So what I'll do is I'll warm up, I'll execute my compound movements, I'll execute my isolation movements, and then there's always the option of doing cardiovascular training afterwards to do a cool down and, basically to train your cardiovascular system for general heart health, etc., just general well-being. So let's go into the warm-up. The warm-up can even use isolation exercise, lighter isolation exercises to promote blood flow, increase mobility, and basically just get you warm so you can start warming up on your compound lifts. So this is how I would generally structure a typical workout, and I'll give some examples. I would warm up. I would do 2 to 4 isolation/mobility movements in succession. I would superset them to promote blood flow, activate whatever muscle groups I'm trying to use on my compound lifts, and to increase mobility in some cases. This could be anywhere from 2 to 4 sets of 15 to 25 reps, 2 to 4 exercises. And this could be before I bench. A lot of the time I'll do a rope pull, I'll do some tricep push down with the rope, and I'll switch the rope to the cable and I'll do some cable curl, or rope curl I should say. That is 3 exercises where I'll do 15 to 25 reps in 3 different supersets, just to get warm and almost get like a pump before you start working out. Then I'll jump on the bench and I'll pyramid up to my bench warm-up sets. And I found this to be amazing for warming up, staying injury free, and also just to increase your work capacity, because you do have to do X amount of work before you actually get into your compound lifts. So overall I think it's a great strategy to increase muscle, increase mobility, and just to increase overall work capacity. So we warm up, next we have our compound movements. This would be typically 1 to 3 multi-joint movements that you can take a relatively large mechanical load and are meant to stimulate a great amount of strength and musculature simultaneously. The volume for this would typically be a little lower rep, anywhere from 1 to 10 reps of 3 to 6 sets. Again, these are very general guidelines just for the average person. This might not apply to someone who's a professional bodybuilder, professional strongman, powerlifter, etc. This is for the general population, that's who I'm speaking to. An example of this would be you would do a flat barbell bench into a dumbbell shoulder press into a dumbbell flat bench. That's 3 compound movements, and I'll go like flat barbell bench, for example, 6x3, dumbbell shoulder press 3x7, dumbbell flat bench 3x10. That's just an example of like a workout I did like last week. So you have your compound movement. Next we would hit our isolation work, 1 to 3 single joint movements that take a much lighter load and are meant to stimulate a muscle group for specifically increased strength, increased musculature, or increased mobility in that specific muscle group. This is usually performed higher rep, anywhere from 6 to 15 reps at 2 to 5 reps, or 2 to 5 sets, excuse me. Again, very general guidelines for the person. So just, again, you have your warm-up, you have your compound movement, you have your isolation work. This whole workout could take place at anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how much you're resting in between sets and what kind of your goals are. If you're just trying to get a pump, if you're trying to perform, a little bit of both, it just depends. So anyways, that concludes the video. And basically the main points, of course, were focus on prioritizing your compound movements over your isolation movements, and follow this general plan outlined in this video when you're setting up your daily workout. Again, just general guidelines. And I mean, if you're right now you're doing a lot of isolation work that's making up like, I don't know, like 80% of your workout, you know, basically flip the tables. Like your compound movement should be making, I'd say, at least 60%, more like 75 or 80% of your total volume and workload. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching the video. Again, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for similar videos, just informative training videos. Like the video if you found it useful. Comment below whether you agree with this particular training modality. If you think I'm wrong, whatever, let me know your comments and thoughts below. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.